Here's something almost nobody tells you. The vegetables you fought to grow this spring will actually grow faster right now in the heat of August. While everyone else is packing up their gardens for the year, the smartest growers are quietly planting a second crop, one that sprouts in days, dodges the dreaded bolt, and gets sweeter with every cold night. But the clock is ticking and the window is closing fast, so grab your seeds and let's dig in before it's too late. Number 1. Radishes. If there is one vegetable that makes August planting look like magic, it is the radish. In spring, gardeners are constantly frustrated by radishes that turn woody, crack open, or get so blisteringly spicy they are barely edible. That is because a late spring heat wave slams the plant right as the root is trying to size up. And heat is the enemy of a sweet, crisp radish. Flip the calendar to August, and everything changes. That warm summer soil is basically a launch pad. Radish seeds can crack open and push up their first leaves in as little as 3 to 5 days, roughly twice as fast as they would manage in cold spring dirt. And here is the beautiful part. Right as the root starts to swell, the weather is cooling down instead of heating up. That means your radishes mature into cool, crisp fall air, staying mild, juicy, and snappy instead of hot and pithy. Some varieties go from seed to your plate in as little as 25 days, which makes the radish the single fastest thing you can plant this month. You could sow a row this week and be pulling radishes before the month is even over. Plant a fresh pinch every 10 days, and you will have a rolling harvest right up until hard frost. There is simply no faster win in the entire garden. Number 2, bush beans. This one shocks people because everyone thinks of beans as a summer crop you plant once and forget. But bush beans are secretly one of the best August plants you can put in the ground. And it comes down to a fact most gardeners learn the hard way. Bean seeds absolutely hate cold soil. When you rush them into the ground in early spring, that cold, damp dirt causes the seeds to rot before they ever sprout, which is why so many people end up with sad, patchy bean rows every spring. But in August, the soil is warm all the way through, and that's exactly what a bean seed is craving. Drop them in now, and they'll germinate explosively, often popping through the surface in under a week with almost no losses. From there, fast-maturing bush varieties race to the finish, giving you a full flush of tender, snappy beans in around 50 to 55 days. Because they grow up in cooler, milder conditions instead of brutal summer heat, the plants tend to be less stressed and the pods stay tender longer. There is one catch you have to respect. Beans are frost tender, so this is a race against the calendar. Get them in the ground in the first week or two of August. Pick a quick variety and have a row cover ready to throw over them if an early cold snap threatens. Do that, and you'll be harvesting fresh beans when your neighbors are staring at bare dirt. Number 3, spinach. Spinach in August isn't just a good idea, it's the only time of year spinach actually behaves. And the reason is one of the wildest facts in all of gardening. Spinach is what botanists call a long day plant. It has a built-in clock that measures the length of daylight. And once the days stretch past roughly 14 hours, the plant panics. It reads those long days as a warning that summer is coming, so it stops making leaves and bolts straight to seed, turning bitter almost overnight. That's why spring spinach betrays you every single year. You get a couple of harvests, then the summer solstice hits, and the whole bed shoots skyward. Now think about what happens when you plant in August. The solstice is already behind us, and every single day is getting shorter. Instead of screaming summer's coming, make seeds. The plant's internal clock is whispering the season's winding down. Keep growing leaves. You've essentially tricked the plant into doing exactly what you want. And it gets better. Spinach loves cold, and it's genuinely frost hardy. It will shrug off freezing nights and even survive a dusting of snow. On top of that, the cold triggers the plant to convert its stored starches into sugars as a natural antifreeze. So fall spinach tastes noticeably sweeter and more tender than anything spring can give you. Warm soil sprouts it fast, cool days keep it growing, and frost makes it delicious. It's the perfect storm. Number 4. Arugula. If you love that peppery, slightly spicy bite in a salad, August is your moment, because arugula is another cool season green that spends all spring and summer trying to sabotage you. Just like spinach and lettuce, arugula is triggered by heat and long days to bolt fast. In warm weather, it barely gives you a harvest before it throws up a flower stalk, and the leaves turn so sharp and bitter they're almost inedible. Gardeners are always stunned by how quickly a beautiful arugula patch can go from tender to unusable. Plant it now, though, and you flip the whole equation. Arugula is one of the fastest greens on earth, ready to cut in as little as 30 to 40 days, and warm August soil gets it germinating in just a few days. As the plant matures into cooling fall weather with shrinking daylight, it stays lush and leafy instead of rushing to flower. Those cooler temperatures also mellow the flavor, giving you that signature pepperiness without the harsh, throat-catching bitterness you get in summer. Here's a fun bonus most people never discover. If a few plants do eventually bolt in the fall, don't rip them out in frustration. Arugula flowers are completely edible and carry that same peppery kick. They're absolutely delicious, scattered over a homemade pizza or tossed into a salad. Between the lightning-fast harvest and the improved flavor, fall arugula makes the spring version look like a mistake. Sow a little every couple of weeks, and you'll have peppery greens for months. Number 5. Cilantro. Ask any gardener what their most heartbreaking crop is, and a huge number of them will say cilantro. This is the herb that seems almost designed to disappoint you in spring, and that's exactly why planting it in August is a total game changer. Cilantro is notorious for bolting faster than almost anything you can grow. In the warmth of spring and summer, it will shoot up a flower stalk within just a few weeks, and once that happens, the leaves thin out, change shape, and lose that fresh citrusy flavor entirely. To make it worse, cilantro is extremely sensitive to stress. Even the shock of transplanting or disturbing its roots can send it straight into bolting mode. So people buy a plant, pop it in the ground, and watch it flower almost immediately. Fall is where cilantro finally gets to shine. Direct sow the seeds right where they will grow, so there is no transplant shock to trigger a bolt. Then let the cool, shortening days of autumn work their magic. Instead of racing to seed, the plant settles in and produces wave after wave of that lush, flavorful foliage, giving you weeks of harvest instead of a frustrating handful of days. For even better results, reach for a slow bolt variety like Santo, which is specifically bred to hold off on flowering. Between the cooler weather and the smart variety choice, you will finally get the endless supply of fresh cilantro that spring always promised but never delivered. If you have ever sworn off growing it, August is your redemption. Number 6. Lettuce. Here's a line that surprises people every time they hear it. The best lettuce you'll ever grow is not spring lettuce, it's fall lettuce. And once you understand why, you'll never waste another summer fighting it. Lettuce is a cool weather crop through and through, happiest when temperatures hang out between 50 and 70 degrees. Push it into summer heat, and two bad things happen at once. The leaves turn bitter, and the plant bolts to seed. That's why so many spring plantings end in disappointment right as the weather warms up. But plant lettuce to mature in the cooling days of fall, and you get tender, sweet, crisp leaves with a bright flavor that store-bought greens can't touch. August planting gives you a perfect 1-2 punch. Warm soil to sprout the seeds, followed by cool weather to grow them out. Fast leaf varieties can be ready to harvest in as little as 30 days, and if you harvest the outer leaves and leave the center, a single plant will keep feeding you for weeks. One quirk you need to know, lettuce seed is a bit backwards about heat. If the soil is above roughly 80 degrees, the seeds can actually go dormant and refuse to sprout. So in hotter regions, start your seeds in a shadier spot. Use a light shade cloth or simply wait until the last week of August when things cool off a touch. Handle that one detail, and fall lettuce will genuinely be the best you've ever grown. Number 7. Kale. Kale has gone from a garnish nobody touched to a superfood staple in American kitchens. And if you want to taste why it deserves the hype, you have to grow it for fall, because kale planted in August gives you something a spring crop never can: sweetness delivered by frost. Here's the incredible science behind it. Kale is extremely cold hardy, and when the temperature drops, the plant kicks into survival mode. To keep its cells from freezing solid, it breaks down the starches it's been storing all season and converts them into sugars, which act like a natural antifreeze that lowers the freezing point inside the leaves. Studies on cold, acclimated kale show it accumulates dramatically more soluble sugar than kale grown in warm weather. The result on your plate? Fall kale is noticeably sweeter, milder, and less bitter than anything you can grow in the heat. That means the frost you'd normally dread is actually your secret flavor weapon. A few cold nights don't hurt kale, they transform it. While tender summer crops get wiped out by that first freeze, your kale just stands there getting tastier. Timing-wise, get kale in the ground from mid-August into early September. The warm soil establishes the young plants quickly, then the cooling weather and eventual frosts do the delicious work. You can harvest the outer leaves and let the plant keep producing from the center for a remarkably long stretch. In milder areas, kale will keep feeding you deep into winter. It's hardy, it's healthy, and thanks to the cold, it's actually better in fall. Number 8. Turnips. Turnips are one of the most underrated vegetables you can plant, and August is their prime time for a reason a lot of gardeners overlook. You're actually getting 2 crops from a single seed. When you plant turnips now, you get the roots and the greens, both of which are packed with nutrition. The leafy tops make a fantastic cooked green, and many southern cooks would argue turnip greens are the whole point, while the roots deliver that crisp, slightly peppery flavor. And turnips are fast. In the warm soil of late summer, they germinate quickly, and many varieties give you a harvestable root in as little as 30 to 60 days, which is easily quick enough to beat the first hard frost. But the real reason to grow them in fall instead of spring is flavor. Turnips are another member of the frost-sweetened club. As the cold sets in and the plant converts its starches to sugars for protection, those roots lose their harsh bite and take on a mellow, almost sweet character. A spring turnip that matured in warming weather is often sharp and woody. A fall turnip that's sized up in cooling weather is tender and mild. Sow the seeds directly in loose soil. Thin the seedlings so the roots have room to swell, and keep the bed watered while everything gets established. You can start snipping baby greens early and pull the roots as they reach the size you like. For a crop this fast, this nutritious, and this improved by cold, turnips are one of the smartest things you can put in an August garden. Number 9. Beets. Beets might be the ultimate 2-for-1 August crop, and if you've only ever eaten grocery store beets, a homegrown fall beet is going to change your mind completely. Like turnips, beets give you a full double harvest. The roots are a rich, earthy classic, and the greens are just as edible and delicious as chard, which happens to be a close cousin. That means every beet seed you plant is pulling double duty in your garden, and beets are perfectly built for August timing. The warm soil gets them germinating faster than a cold spring bed ever would, giving the plants a strong, quick start. Then the magic ingredient arrives: cold. Beets secretly love chilly weather, and when frost sets in, they ramp up sugar production to protect those juicy roots from freezing. That extra sugar balances out the earthy, sometimes dirt-like flavor that turns people off, leaving you with beets that are sweeter, smoother, and far more crave-worthy. Fall beets simply taste better than summer beets. Full stop. A couple of quick pro tips make a big difference. What looks like a single beet seed is actually a little cluster that produces several seedlings, so you'll need to thin them to about 3 or 4 inches apart for the roots to size up properly. Soaking the seeds before planting also speeds up germination. Look for tough, dual-purpose varieties. The classic Detroit Dark Red, for example, can handle the lingering warmth of August and then power right through the cold that follows. Number 10. Swiss chard. If you only plant one thing from this list, make it Swiss chard, because it might be the single most reliable and forgiving vegetable you can put in an August garden. While most crops are picky about their weather, chard is the ultimate overachiever that bridges two seasons at once. Here's what makes it so special. Chard handles summer heat far better than most leafy greens, yet it also thrives when the weather turns cool, which means it happily spans that awkward transition from late summer into fall when other plants sulk. Plant it now, and it establishes in the warm soil, then keeps right on producing as the temperatures drop. In milder regions, it can even push through winter and come back for a second act in spring. Chard is also a cut-and-come-again champion. Instead of harvesting the whole plant at once, you snip the outer leaves and the plant keeps generating new growth from the center for months on end. That's an enormous amount of food from a single planting, and it's why chard earns its spot in the garden like few other crops can. And let's not forget the looks. Rainbow varieties come with brilliant stems in red, yellow, pink, orange, and white, making chard as ornamental as it is edible. It is honestly beautiful enough to plant in a flower bed. Between its heat tolerance, its cold tolerance, its non-stop production, and its stunning colors, chard gives you the longest, most dependable, and prettiest harvest of anything on this list. It's a genuine set-it-and-forget-it superstar. Number 11, carrots save the best sweetness for last, because carrots are the undisputed poster child of the frost-sweetening phenomenon. And a fall carrot is a completely different vegetable from the ones you buy in a bag. The science here is genuinely delightful. As the temperature drops, the carrot goes into self-defense mode. Cold stress signals its cells to break down stored starches and convert them into sugars, mainly glucose, fructose, and sucrose, which lower the root's freezing point and act as natural antifreeze. For the plant, it's survival. For you, it's a flavor jackpot. Those frost-kissed carrots come out sweeter, juicier, nuttier, and far less bitter than any carrot grown in warm weather. Some gardeners swear a fall carrot tastes almost candied. It's no accident that carrots are the star of so many Thanksgiving tables. To pull this off, timing and variety matter. Carrots take a while to mature, generally 60 to 75 days, so lean toward shorter, faster types like Nantes or Chantenay when planting in August. Sow them directly in loose, rock-free soil so the roots grow straight. And here's the non-negotiable rule. Never let carrot seedlings dry out. They're famously unforgiving about drought during germination, so keep that bed consistently moist. And there's a wonderful bonus. In milder regions, you don't even have to harvest them all at once. The soil acts as natural insulation, so you can leave carrots right in the ground and pull them fresh as needed throughout the winter, each one sweeter than the last. Warm soil to start, cold weather to sweeten. Carrots were made for August planting. Number 12, bok choy. Rounding out the list is a vegetable a lot of home gardeners have never tried, but absolutely should. Bok choy, also called pak choy. This crisp, mild Asian green is a stir-fry superstar, and fall is hands down the best time to grow it. Bok choy belongs to the same cool season family as its cousins on this list, which means it comes with the same spring headache, heat, and long summer days push it to bolt fast, sending up a flower stalk and turning the plant tough and bitter before you get much of a harvest. Try to grow it in warming spring weather, and you're basically fighting a losing battle against its own biology. August planting flips the script entirely. The warm soil sprouts the seeds quickly, and then the cooling, shortening days of fall are exactly the conditions bok choy craves. Instead of rushing to seed, the plant forms those signature plump, crunchy stalks and tender leaves. And it's fast. Many varieties are ready to harvest in just 40 to 45 days, so there's plenty of time to squeeze in a crop before hard frost arrives. One of the best things about bok choy is that the entire plant is edible, crisp white stems and dark green leaves alike, and it cooks up in minutes. You can harvest baby heads early for salads or let them size up fully for stir-fries and soups. It's fast, it's forgiving in cool weather, and it adds something a little different to the fall garden. If you want to grow something new this month, let it be this. So before you hang up your gardening gloves for the year, remember this: August isn't the end of the season. It might just be the best planting window you've got all year. Pick a few of these, get them in the ground this week, and you'll be harvesting sweet, tender vegetables long after your neighbors have given up. Which one are you planting first? Drop it in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.